Hey guys, Viasak here. Now, since I had some extra time off today, I decided to get these two videos out of the way that I'm going to do today. And of course, what we're going to talk about is what I would say a lot of women think in general of, love dolls. We aren't just going to talk about just women in general, though. We're also are going to talk about what feminists think about love dolls as well, and etc. Now, of course, there's plenty of women that I've personally met and actually know that seem to not think anything about the subject. They don't really care, or they don't really think anything badly about, men or women having love dolls. They understand that it just is what it is. It's a sex toy, role play tool, etc. However, some women and or people don't, but we're kind of focusing on women on this section, so let's just get right into it. Now, the comments on this one that I'm reading off here are from Reddit, so just keep that in mind. And I just took, I would say, maybe at least a few pictures of some of the text. Now, some of this kind of made me laugh as I was reading it, so here we go. And like I said, this is from Reddit. Before I say this, please note that I don't think male masturbation is shameful in any way, shape, or form. I applaud recent strides in design that male masturbatory aids have done, and I'm oddly jealous of the fact that I can't try out a fleshlight myself. They seem amazing. Tenga eggs also seem really cool. I hope we get to see more similar stuff for men. But I think when you start spending thousands of dollars on eagerly human-looking dolls and fuck them, you've reached a point of no return of sorts. I don't know what he's talking about, but okay. Spending that kind of cash on one single masturbatory aid is just taking it too far. I mean, I've reached a point of no return of what? I mean, I've had sex with a sex doll, so no, I can't go to heaven or something? I don't know. Having sex with lifeless but human looking forms and not being hesitant about it is also crossing some kind of line. What that line is, I'm not sure I can articulate, but it's not something I'd shrug. I mean, you could even see as she's putting down her text that she doesn't even know what she's talking about at the last part of it. She's like, it crosses a line, but I'm thinking like, okay, so what kind of line am I crossing personally as a love doll owner myself? Explain this to me, how I'm crossing the line. Because basically what she stated is that, I'm crossing some kind of line, but I don't know what. And I'm just thinking like, okay, so what line am I crossing? And, I'm trying to, I would say be empathetic towards what she's saying. But, when you have something come up or when you have comments and you believe in something, tell me the reason why you believe that. Don't just put, oh, you're crossing some kind of line, and I don't know what that line is, but, well, what line am I crossing? What am I doing wrong is what I would ask this woman, personally. And my answer would be, I'm not doing jack shit wrong, is what I'm doing wrong. But apparently, I'm crossing a line that doesn't exist. So, okay, moving on. And this next one, these are comments under that comment, though, from here on out. And these state, yeah, I don't want to make sex dolls illegal, but I also wouldn't be interested in a guy who uses one. It's a red flag to me. Okay, so you don't want them to be illegal, but you think so badly about them, like they should be illegal, and it's a red flag when meeting a guy. Like, how does that work? man, some people sometimes they just need to think about what they're saying sometimes. My thoughts precisely. There is something about it that bothers me, but I don't yet know how exactly to say what it is. Okay, so your thoughts exactly, but you don't know what it is. I mean, figure it out then before you put comments down. It definitely crosses a line. It's like a human who can't move, speak, or give consent. There's something really wrong about that. Well, I mean, it couldn't be because it's a doll, which is the real reason why it can't speak, but it's also something that isn't really living. Now, there are people that, of course, it's something that can't speak for itself, excuse for animals, and that at least makes more sense for animals because it's a living thing. But you see, a love doll is not a living thing, so to speak. You could give it AI, but even then, an AI is just an AI. Okay, so let's see. Here's the next ones here. Any day when I'm not reminded that there's a market for an inanimate object that resembles women but lacks minds of their own, the ability to speak or refuse. Here we go, to speak or refuse sex, BS. That's a pretty good day today. Sadly, I will not be one of those today, of the ones that's happy. Here, I need a drink here. Jesus Christ. Okay, so what I was about to say was, okay, so it lacks their mind of their own to have the ability to speak and refuse sex. Well, so does a dildo, and so does, a fleshlight or Tanga, as they were talking about in the beginning of this. So just because a dildo and another masturbation tool like a fleshlight doesn't have a mind to speak for itself doesn't mean that I'm doing anything wrong. But yet these women in here are talking about, dildos and fleshlights like they're cool. But then it's like, oh, a love doll, well, that's just taking it too far. It's the same fucking thing, just more expensive and a lot heavier. And it looks like a person. But moving on. I know for many, sex is a pressing need, etc. But the idea that some people are basically learning that sexuality, they should get whatever they wish when they wish, it creeps me out. I don't know what this lady's talking about. It creeps me out that sex dolls allow people to cherry pick a certain appearance that could be a result of fetishization. Whatever. Age, body size, possibility, even some physical conditions that may change somebody's appearance. It's creepy as fuck. Learn to calm your urges. Use a fleshlight if you want, or you got your hands, most probably. What's wrong with them? Well, the problem with a fleshlight and your hands is that they aren't a love doll or a person. You see, this hand of yours eventually is not going to be enough, which is part of the reason why people have sex in the first place. And that is another reason why we have love dolls. So again, if you're going to put a comment down like that, you might as well do a little bit of research before you lay down a comment. Moving on. You hit the nail on the head. May tomorrow be a better day for us both. All right, yeah, enough of that. So those are the negative comments from women on Reddit. And, we all know how Reddit is. It's just one negative. It's just a bunch of negative groups. What can I say? But Here, I'm going to take another drink here. Because my snot will not fucking go away. Okay. So these are actually the feminists. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, let's see what kind of negative comments are going to come out of these ladies. But nope. These are actually positive comments from feminists. In fact, this is on site Quota. In fact, I will put a link down in the description of this site. I took a picture of the top 2 comments up from this site, and they were actually both positive. I haven't looked at some of the other ones near going under these 2 comments, but you'll see what I mean. So here we go. And of course, the basic question is on this site, what do feminists think about like sex dolls? This person just states, I don't think much about them at all, frankly. Many of the arguments have heard advanced against sex dolls. Excuse me. Or sex bots is similar to the arguments against pornography, particularly violent or kinky pornography, that experiencing such a thing will diminish men's respect for real women, leading to an uptick in sexual violence and a cheapening of relationships. In real life, there has been no legitimate academic research that I'm aware of showing that pornography does anything of the kind. Now, I'm deliberately leaving the influence on children out of this. Children are still learning suddenly. God damn it. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. So, moving on. Adults aren't suddenly going to decide that rape is okay. They read some rape fantasies on the internet. Adults aren't going to suddenly decide that women are worthless as human beings because they get to have sex with a doll or robot instead. If it goes out one more time, I will just end the video and restart later. Most adult human beings want more out of their relationships with another person than sex. If that weren't the case, none of us would have friends. We'd just have sex partners. I don't think that the presence of sex dolls, robots, is likely to change our desire to have real human relationships with real people. Even if some people decide that the sex they have with their robots is better than the sex they can have with a person, and so don't have sex with people, I'm honestly not clear on who that would actually hurt. The search for sex and sexual variety causes just as many problems, if not more, than it solves. Many people, after all, have the same best friend for their entire adult life. But 10 or 12 or 20 different girlfriends, boyfriends, significant others, sex partners in that time. If we are so hung up on sex, maybe more of the planet would get over the belief that men and women can't be friends without having sex. It's still a silly belief that it is more than time for us to put aside. Moving on to the next picture. Some of that was kind of hard to read. It was very tiny. We are not going to die out as a species. There are plenty of ways to procreate that don't involve having unprotected sex with a human or the opposite sex. And they're getting easier and cheaper and more reliable all the time. The situation might change if we make the shift from sex dolls and sex robots to true androids with the capability of reproducing a human way. At that point, we get into the realm of speculative science fiction, a la Blade Runner, and Asimov's work, and even Star Trek TNG, where the question truly becomes what makes us human, but what goes well beyond the scope of this posed question. And I actually completely agree with this feminist, actually. Like, I think that what they're saying is actually, I mean, I agree with them. Like, basically 100%. It's like that one other lady on Reddit said, you hit the nail on the head. Anyway, so here's one more feminist here that, now this one was a shorter paragraph, so I'll read it out. But here we go. This person states, every so often, I'm not accusing the OP of this. There will be a guy or a group of men who rave about life like sex dolls and sex robots and rave about how men don't need women anymore because they've gotten everything they need from an inanimate object. Okay. Every times make this assertion. Okay, we're back. Okay, moving on. Sometimes make this assertion with the expectation that women will tremble in our boots and beg them to come back. The truth is, in many of these cases, I think that a life like sex doll is exactly the type of partner that these type of men need, so they don't go and make an actual person with feelings miserable. Anytime that a person declares that sex dolls are better than partners than women are, and that women will soon be replaced, all I can think is that this is clearly coming from a person who literally cannot handle being in a relationship with somebody who has needs of their own. A person who was controlling and demanding and inconsiderate of others, and who would likely make for an unpleasant partner at best and an abusive one at worst. And I breathe and sigh of the relief the partner they have chosen can't be hurt by their antics. I know of a few people of either gender who feel that they need a personal slave whose only mission in life is to do whatever they want. As a partner, and I harbor no concerns that men are going to replace women with dolls and robots. That's not to say that the people who have sex with dolls are all like this. Not at all. But every so often, a question will be asked where these men are checking in on to see if women are starting to feel afraid yet about our impending replacements and lonely futures, and I wonder how they have so little self-awareness to see that clearly none of us are going to All right, well, I'll end it right there, and I'll put the link below.